Okay, people. So I don't usually watch this type of film, but I'd heard, right? I'd heard that Saw 10 was really good. Heard it was really good. And after hearing what it was about, I kind of was like, you know what? Sounds like those people deserved it. So it's just dropped on Prime for free. And I figured, all right, I'll give it a look. Right. So this installment is directed by Kevin Greutert, written by Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg. It is produced by Mark Borg, um, Gabriela Della Valle, Luisa Gomez da Silva, Orin Hughes, Ulrich Meyer. It is executive produced by Lee Wannell, James Wan, Stacy Testro, uh, Keturah Kestin, Greg Hoffman, Daniel J. Hefner, and Jason Constantine. It is co-produced by Kim Crepin and Mindy Sheldon. Charlie Cluser took care of the music. Nick Matthews was on cinematography. Kevin Greutert also edits the piece as well as directing. Nancy Nair handled the casting. Anthony Stabley was production design. Ricardo Davalia was art direction. Set decoration, we have Salinas Mazur Maria with Jimena Tenorio on costume design. Right, so the cast. Well, Tobin Bell is John Kramer once again. Shawnee Smith is Amanda Young. Cecilia Pedersen is Sinove Makodi Lund. Right, her friend Parker Sears is played by Stephen Brand. You have Gabriella, played by Renata Vaca. Diego, played by Joshua Okamoto. There's Matteo, played by Octavio Hinojosa. Valentina, played by Paulette Hernandez. Carlos, played by Jorge Brezeno. Hoffman, played by Costas Mandalore. Henry Kessler, played by the great Michael Beach. Right? You've got a doctor played by David Alfano. Dr. Finn Pedersen, played by Dongu Gordon. I think that's our main lot of people, I would probably say. So the gist of the film is this: John Kramer is back. The most chilling installment of the Saw franchise yet explores the untold chapter of Jigsaw's most personal game. Set between the events of Saw 1 and 2, a sick and desperate John travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Armed with a newfound purpose, John returns to his work, turning the tables on the con artists in his signature visceral way through a series of ingenious and terrifying traps. So, yeah, that was the big thing, right? Because you hear about these fake drugs and all things like that, right? But a fake operation. I mean, there are plenty of, with the whole lip fillers and the BBLs, putting cement rather than a proper thing in people, right? So yeah, we hear about all of these scams. So the idea of someone finding out and then inflicting a revenge, it's hard to be mad at that, right? Especially if someone's saying, you know what I mean, like a lip filler, ain't kind of, you're a bit of an idiot, right? I mean, you're a bit of an idiot. Why are you going to that place? You're not researching, and who really needs that shit? You know what I mean? But a cancer operation, being told this will save your life? Nah, man, that's some ill shit. That's some ill shit. So, you know what I mean? It's you're not mad at Kramer, right? You're not mad at Kramer for taking revenge. So that part of the story I could get behind, right? I think I watched some of the first Saw. I watched some of the first Saw and was just like, you know what? This ain't for me. This ain't for me. I'm not really into that torture porn thing. I watched one of the hostels, right? Where I don't know what number it was. It was, I think they're in Amsterdam, two guys at a hostel, you know, and they get drugged. So if you know what number that installment that was, I don't. But that's the only one of those I've seen. But yeah, these things are a bit too off key for my liking. But I will say, yeah, this one I was down with the story. The acting was good. The acting was like you believed these people playing their parts, right? I think there is a character that Kramer meets first at the house, right? Who greets him at the house, let's say. And you figure there's something up there. But yeah, all the other ones, you're kind of like, if you don't know the plot, there's nothing to really doubt, you know? There's nothing to really doubt on what's going on. So it is, yeah, I thought that part was well played, you know. Um, the music, there is a lot of music. I do feel I would hard back the score a bit. Like, nah, you know, there's this ominous music, right? There's, you know, music to make you feel afraid and all that. I don't think we necessarily need that. I think the story is enough, right? What the scenes are enough to have you, you know what I mean, on edge, to have you wondering, to have you being like, oh, fuck this trap, right? I don't think we need the music. I think the way the scenes are framed, right? The cinematography, the lighting, all of that stuff really does help frame the jeopardy, right? Frame what the fuck could happen in this. So I thought that was that. And, you know, the effects, mad props to the effects, because, yeah, you kind of think, okay, how? How do they make that look real? Like, we see some things that are just like, yo, you know? It is also interesting. There is a bit where we see something, but it doesn't actually happen, right? It's a kind of a vision John's having, like a fault, like, this is how this could go, which, I mean, it was a gnarly thing, but I thought it was interesting, right? To kind of figure, oh, is that how John thinks, right? If John sees you fucking around, is he just thinking, what kind of trap could I put this person in? Right? That's like, yo, that's a different level of living. That's a different way of living life. You know what I mean? And why you should always be careful. The person you're rowing with might be a motherfucking jigsaw, you know? So I thought that was interesting. That was definitely interesting. Um, yeah, I don't because I didn't watch all of Saw 1 and I didn't watch Saw 2. So it'd be, how this then plays into Saw 2 or even ends like how it comes from Saw 1. I imagine if you've watched those films that this, fills in those parts nicely, maybe, but I don't know. On its own, though, right? Because I didn't know that it's a sequel to one and a prequel to two. So on its own, I thought it worked. I didn't really think there was anything necessarily that I was missing. You just learned that Amanda is John's apprentice. So it's just like, huh, I didn't know, but I don't know the franchise. So I didn't know he had an apprentice. So that's all like, okay, okay. But it is like, oh God, what am I trying to say here? Like, it's intrigue on top of intrigue. You know what I mean? Because certain things happen, and then you're just like, wow, oh well, that wasn't smart. And then you're like, okay, yes, if you have that, you would definitely have done that and that and that and that. So it's just like, okay, yeah, the film does actually make sense. And don't stop when the credits start, because there is a mid-credit snippet, right? That fills in the last piece of the pie that you might be pondering after the whole film. There's something that you're kind of like, hold on, what was that one about then? Because I definitely think you wondered if, the lies had gone to a certain level, right? Because that would have been plausible, you know? But yeah, it is one thing that you do think about. And so yeah, that is answered in the credits. So stay with the credits. Um Now, as I said, look, the story, the idea, the concept, I thought, yeah, boom, I'm down. I'm down. Did this make me want to watch more of these films? No. I think I'm yeah, done with the torture porn, as it were. But this was okay. It was okay. As I said, acted well, put together well, story held up. So I think if you're a fan of the other Saw films, I imagine Saw 10, which is an odd one, really, because it's the 10th film in the franchise, but it's not a sequel to 9. Right? So you kind of feel the title should be something different. But yeah, Saw 10. If you like the others, yeah, I imagine you'll be down with this one. And also, if you like stuff like, Escape Room and all of those other films, then yeah, Saw 10 will most likely hit the spot for you. So yeah, it's out on all VODs. Enjoy.